Violence,
I don't know how to answer this
I
question.
respond to violence with fear.
Hate,
bad,
judgment, hostility, anger.
brass knuckles.
It just seems like people always want to respond to violence with violence.
Violence has been a recurring theme throughout all of known history. So how do we erase a collective habit?
You can't solve the problem of violence using violence.
You have to make a choice about whether or not to respond. In responding to it, do you respond with violence?
It can actually be justified to use violence to defend yourself, but
There's no exception to violence. It can never be justified.
Violence stifles creativity. As artists, we're hoping to be in a positive sphere.
So everybody has their own experiences with violence. So the way that anybody reacts to violence, they think is the right way to react to violence.
How do you stand up for yourself and at the same time without just perpetuating a cycle?
The only way to solve it is through any other means.
What do you need to bring so that you break the cycle of violence?
I can't avoid the world.
Stand your ground and own what you're feeling, but it requires courage to stand up, to respond.
I'm not a fighter, and when I see trouble, I try to step
I
aside.
try to keep my cool, and it's best to do what's best for myself.
Which is tricky because I have a short temper. It's something I have to keep in check constantly.
I can be very vengeful at times. My anger comes to a level where I can't control it.
Also, am I triggering something?
I have enough self-control to realize when people have stepped off their own self-control boundaries and disrespected mine.
How could we all step back from this?
Violence is being defecated on and made less than because of a lack of security and safety.
The afflictor of violence needs to heal as well. So how do we get there?
Educate people, see the other side of it, and
To go past the intellect and into the emotional response to it, and
try to understand why these violent acts are happening.
We don't talk about the causes, we don't talk about the roots of the problem.
so we have a tendency to go very intellectual and think, oh, I know the response to this.
People that commit violent acts, they're just bad people.
This is bad.
And they just have hatred and anger. And
We should fight those other people.
To be less focused on after the fact and more on preventing something before the fact.
Think about what it is, where it comes from.
through that understanding, people wouldn't be breeding the violence and making this cycle continuous.